Imagine waking up to a sound that literally shakes the very core of the earth beneath your feet, a brutal, roaring thunder that echoes across the horizon, followed by a heavy, thick, endless downpour of rain. You look out from your primitive shelter, cold, shivering, and completely terrified, hoping and praying that this monstrous storm will pass in an hour or two. But it doesn't. Not after a few hours, not after a few days, not even after weeks or months. In fact, it keeps raining violently and non-stop for the next 2 million years. Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't some crazy, exaggerated Hollywood sci-fi movie plot. This is a real, horrifying, and scientifically proven chapter from Earth's ancient history that experts call the Carnian pluvial event. During this time, the entire planet turned into a giant, deadly liquid swamp of death. But here is the first major, mind-boggling question that baffled elite scientists for decades. How on earth did our primitive, cave-dwelling ancestors manage to stay alive when the entire world became a watery hell? The answer to that is so wild, and it actually links back to a terrifying genetic discovery buried deep inside your very own modern human DNA. But we will uncover that shocking biological secret at the absolute end of this video. Think about it for a second. Today, when it rains outside, we stay indoors, order warm food, and turn up the artificial heater. It's an inconvenience, but for ancient humans, endless rain was an immediate, unescapable death sentence. Their absolute first survival instinct was to build shelters out of wood and mud. But this raises another mysterious, dark question. Why did their advanced survival huts suddenly start turning against them, becoming a deadly trap that killed them instead of protecting them? Well, within just a matter of days, the relentless heavy downpour turned the solid, stable ground into a sinking, suffocating trap of thick, liquid mud. Imagine trying to sleep while the very floor beneath you turns into a moving quicksand. Entire primitive communities were literally buried alive in their sleep, suffocating under tons of mud, or violently washed away in massive, unexpected flash floods that roared through valleys out of nowhere. The psychological trauma must have been unimaginable. Day after day, never seeing the sun, living in constant freezing dampness. This brings us to a massive twist that happened right in the middle of this disaster. Scientists recently discovered that ancient humans didn't just fight the water, they fought an invisible airborne enemy created by the rain itself. We will look at this shocking mid-video twist in just a couple of minutes, which explains why human lungs evolved the way they did. To survive this freezing nightmare, humans had to get off the liquid ground, fast. They had two choices to make: climb the tall prehistoric trees and risk getting blown away by fierce howling winds or struck by blinding lightning, or retreat deep into the pitch-black stone caves. But this choice leads us to the most dangerous question of all. What was waiting for them inside those dark caves that was actually far worse and more violent than the killer storm outside? You see, ancient caves weren't empty luxury apartments waiting for human refugees. Oh no, prehistoric caves were already heavily occupied by the most terrifying, bloodthirsty predators of the ancient world. We are talking about giant cave bears, twice the size of a grizzly, venomous prehistoric snakes, and massive saber-toothed tigers with teeth like daggers. Just try to imagine the sheer, unfiltered terror. You are running away from drowning water outside, cold to the bone, only to enter a pitch-black stone cave and hear a deep, echoing, demonic growl. Ancient humans literally had to fight these monsters hand to hand in the complete dark, using nothing but sharp rocks and sheer desperation just to secure a single dry corner to sleep. It was a brutal, bloody, and endless war for survival real estate.
But finding a dry cave was only the first battle of this million-year war. This leads us to the ultimate cliffhanger of our first chapter. Once they got the cave, how did they find food when the entire world outside was completely underwater, freezing, and zero large animals were left to hunt? The dark, stomach-churning, and absolutely disgusting reality of what they had to resort to eating just to stay alive for 24 hours is something so shocking we will reveal right now.
Now that our primitive ancestors had somehow secured a dark, cold cave by fighting off killer beasts, a brand new, silent killer arrived: starvation. And this enemy was much quieter than a saber-toothed tiger, but far more deadly and agonizing. You see, prehistoric hunting relied completely on tracking animal footprints and trails in the dry dirt, but heavy, relentless rain washes away tracks instantly. It leaves absolutely no clues for the hunter. Even worse, the extreme, constant moisture warped their wooden spears and bows, turning their only long-range weapons completely useless. To make matters worse, the massive mammoths and deer they usually hunted went into deep, unreachable hiding inside the mountain ranges. They were completely gone. This brings us to a terrifying new question that most history textbooks completely ignore. When all the meat is gone and your weapons are broken, what horrifying, taboo things did ancient humans have to consume just to stop their organs from failing? With zero large animals to hunt, humans became desperate, bottom-feeding scavengers. They had to eat anything, absolutely anything that moved in the mud. They started digging up giant slimy earthworms from the wet soil, collecting cold snails from slick rocks, and eating raw mystery mushrooms growing in the deep, damp darkness of the caves. But imagine the sheer desperation and the agony of this. Eating damp, cold, raw, and unwashed food in a freezing environment introduces a horrifying wave of deadly stomach bacteria into the human body. Thousands of ancient humans died in absolute agony, curling up on the wet cave floors from severe food poisoning. This brutal phase forced early humans to quickly learn, through a horrific process of trial and deadly error, which plants were safe and which ones meant instant, painful death. But how did they stop this internal poisoning and freezing death? This leads to the ultimate turning point in human history and the answer to the mystery we promised you. What was the secret weapon that saved our entire species from complete extinction during this million-year flood? Remember, the absolute biggest revelation about your modern daily life is coming up in just a few seconds, right at the end of this narration. Their ultimate savior was fire. But keeping a fire alive during an endless million-year flood is a true engineering miracle. Fire wasn't just a tool for cooking anymore, it was literal life support to prevent hypothermia. Ancient humans learned to guard their glowing embers like pure gold, protecting them from every single drop of water. They discovered that using animal fat and specialized dry stones hidden deep inside caves could keep the flame burning, no matter how hard it poured outside. And here is the beautiful, mind-blowing twist where everything comes together at the absolute end. Because it rained for millions of years, humans were forced to sit together in small, warm, smoke-filled cave spaces for months and years at a time. They couldn't leave. So they looked at each other. They shared stories. They communicated warmth and fear. This exact environmental struggle is what forced humans to develop the world's very first complex spoken languages and close-knit social communities. The endless rain didn't destroy humanity, it created us. It forced us to innovate, communicate, and master nature. It gave us the high-capacity lungs and the social brain we have today. It made us exactly who we are. Now, if you think surviving an endless million-year rainstorm was an impossible feat, you won't believe what happened when the water completely dried up, revealing a terrifying, colossal nightmare buried deep beneath the desert sands.